How's it going? I'm the Jason of all trades, and if you don't already know who I am, then you probably don't sew. My other YouTube channel is almost entirely dedicated to the art of sewing awesome stuff like this messenger bag I made. But I call myself the Jason of all trades because I have a lot of interests, and since that channel has become pretty dedicated to sewing, I've decided to start the second channel for some of my other interests. What the heck does this have to do with me running a 50K, you might be asking? So for the next 6 months, I'm going to be training for and running my first 50K. For the next 6 months, I'm planning on doing a weekly vlog update to share with any of you who may be interested how I'm training, how that training is going, if I've given up, what I'm eating, what I'm not eating, whatever. Just, the general experience of running a 50K for the first time. If you're clicking on this, probably you might be interested in running a 50K, maybe wondering what it's like or what the training is like or whatever. So this video is an introduction to me if you don't know me, or if you do know me, an introduction to me as a runner, and there's going to be a bunch of caveats about this stuff. So let's get started. So first and foremost, I am not a runner, and I am not a professional runner or trainer. In fact, I don't know anything at all about running. I've done relatively a lot of runs. Like, some of you may be watching this and say, my gosh, you've never run at all compared to me. And some of you who maybe don't run at all might think I'm some kind of running freak. To me, I don't consider myself to be an athlete. I don't consider myself to be a runner. I'm trying desperately to maintain a minimal level of physical fitness and well-being. One of the ways I do that is running. But the farthest I've ever run is one marathon one time. This will be my first ultra. And, we'll see if it's something I want to do more of, or if this is a one-time thing too. I mentioned that I'm not a professional trainer. If you watch a lot of the vlogs I'm going to do about this, I might tell you what I'm doing for training. I might tell you what I'm eating. I might tell you what kind of shoes I'm wearing. None of that may apply to you. We're all individuals, and the shoes that work for me might injure you. The diet I eat might put you in the hospital. The training program I use might make you fail. So, take anything I say with a grain of salt, do your own research, talk to your own, professional resources, talk to your doctor, whatever you got to do to, if you decide to do something like this, do it safely. My 3 priorities for this event are to not get hurt, to finish, and to have a good time. In that order. Since I also sew for a living, I need at least one foot to be working, so a leg injury or ankle or something could actually negatively impact my earning ability. So I definitely don't want to get hurt just for that and other practical reasons. I definitely want to finish this event. I don't think going into something like this, and it's not an inexpensive event, I don't think going into it without having a very clear goal of finishing is a smart idea, because if I say I'm just going to run as far as I can in this many hours and give up, that's probably what's going to happen. So I definitely intend to finish. This particular race has a 12 or 12 and a half hour cutoff time. I could walk 50K in 12 and a half hours, I'm pretty sure. So, although it is in a swamp, but we'll get to that later. I'm pretty sure I should be able to finish it, again, if I remain injury-free and nothing weird happens on race day. And then, obviously this should be fun. I'm spending what many would consider to be a stupid amount of money to go run in the swamp for 6 or 7 or 8 hours. If it's not enjoyable, I could certainly stay home and sit on the couch and watch a movie for a lot less money than that. So, I do enjoy being out, and I actually do enjoy running sometimes. So we'll see how that goes. I want to get one thing off my chest and kind of be real for a minute. There are probably people in parts of the world who have to run 50 kilometers to get a bag of rice and maybe have to dodge gunfire to do it. Like, I realize that this is, very much a first world recreation, and whatever I might say about, what an incredible feat it is to run 50 kilometers, or whatever, like, I realize that in the grand scheme of things, this is just a dumb thing that we do because we have too much time on our hands and too much money. But that said, I think it's still an important pursuit. You know, in the world in which I live, there are much worse ways one could spend one's time and one's discretionary money than by doing something physically challenging and kind of, I don't know, to reaffirm that I'm still alive. Like, I'm not dense enough to think that I'm a superhero doing something important. This is purely for fun, and there are a lot of people who have to do things harder than what I'm going to do and don't have a choice. So I'm aware of that. Having said that, and also, like, you know, I know, like, if I say, oh, anybody can do a 50K, well, okay, yeah, there are people with limitations, physical limitations, illnesses, you know, whatever. There are lots of reasons why many people might not be able to do something like this. So I'm not flippantly just saying, oh, anybody can do it, and not considering things like that. If I say something loosely like, hey, if I can do it, anybody can do it, you know, I'm at least partially picking on myself. But, you know, perhaps what I should say, and maybe, you know, anybody can do it can be shorthand for this, but any reasonably physically fit, able-bodied person who can afford a pair of shoes and an entrance fee and a few other things can do something like this. I don't want to dance around this topic too much, trying to apologize for something that somebody might get upset about. I'm not trying to offend anyone, or I'm not so short-sighted that I don't realize that there are people who have real problems, and, you know, again, this is just a silly recreational thing. So let me tell you a little bit about me. When I was born, I was very young, and some of the advantages that I have regarding doing a physical event like this, and some of the disadvantages, or at least as I see them, that I might have. So my race that I'm doing is in about 6 months from now. It's in March of 2019. And at that time, I will be 47 years old. That's neither an advantage or a disadvantage. I'm sure it might be easier if I were 27 years old, but I'm in better shape now than I was when I was 27 years old, so I don't know. But as I said, I don't really consider myself to be a runner, but I have done a lot of, you know, fun running events, Boulder 10K. I think I've done 5 or 6 of those when I lived in Colorado. Done one marathon. I've done, I don't even know how many half marathons, probably somewhere between 5 and 10 maybe. You gonna go up? Hi. This keeps me from getting a lot of stuff done. Anyway, so I've done half marathons, 10Ks, 5Ks, several, thank you, mud, obstacle type runs, varying distances. Those are a lot of fun, by the way. I've been a mountain biker and a road cyclist for a number of years. I don't really do either of those. I don't road ride really at all anymore, and I mountain bike somewhat infrequently, but I still do it. I did CrossFit for 6 years pretty steadily. I wasn't really super intense about it, but, you know, I was doing it several times a week. For the last year and a half, I've been doing my own thing, working out, doing kind of, you know, body weight CrossFit style workouts a couple times a week at my house, and doing hot yoga once a week, and running, you know, 1 or 2 times a week or whatever. So I say all that to say I am not in amazing, spectacular shape, but I'm in good shape for my age, I would say. Okay. Thank you. This is not intended to be a couch to 50K vlog. I will tell you, it's purely out of fear of getting old. Last year I did a 25K, and I was intending to do 25K at the event that I'm going to be running in March. And I thought, you know, if I run the 25K and I run slower, I have to admit that I'm getting older. But if I run the 50K, well, that's farther than I've ever run, so whatever time I do it in, it's a success, and I can go on pretending to not be aging. I'm only half joking, by the way. I think that thought process did occur. And I'm not saying it because I'm proud of it. I'm saying it because this is real life. Like, you know, if we're lucky, we get older, and I've been lucky so far. So, for disadvantages for me training for this event, I live in Southwest Florida, and it's now the middle of September, which for a lot of the country is fall and the beginning of sweater weather. And here it's just the continuation of summer. And the heat is not that terrible, although it is. I ran 10 miles today, and it was pretty brutal hot. And the humidity is still pretty high and stuff. But maybe the bigger concern for me is most of my running is going to be after work in the afternoon. And we still get a lot of afternoon thunderstorms in this area. And while I am totally happy to run in the rain, in fact, I kind of prefer running in the rain sometimes, lightning is a concern. So if there may be days when I just don't get to run because there's a thunderstorm that won't go away or whatever. I've been pretty lucky so far. I've been able to get runs in most days that I plan to run, so we'll see how that goes. We're also, as most people are probably aware, if you're watching this at all contemporaneously, you know, the East Coast of the United States just got hit by one hurricane, and I think there's a couple of more moving around out in the Atlantic. Hurricane season goes through until November. It was actually just a little over a year ago that we had to evacuate from here when Irma hit. So there's a possibility that weather may interfere with some of my training. Should be early enough in the program that I imagine it won't make that big of a difference, but I'm putting that under the column of disadvantages. My work schedule is such that I have to be at work at 7:30 in the morning, so running in the morning just really isn't an option for me. It's way too early for me to be able to get up and get ready and run, you know, 5 or sometimes 10 miles and then go to work and be there by 7:30. It just ain't gonna happen. So in case you were gonna ask. I have a couple of trips planned during this period, which may or may not allow me to get runs in on the designated training days that I'm planning on. And I'm prepared to just say, okay, well, I'm gonna miss a day. You know, if I miss an entire week of running in a 6-month training plan, I think I'll probably be okay. I'm not trying to win this thing, I'm just trying to finish. So I'm going to try to stick to the program as best I can, but some, you know, things might come up that impact that. In the advantages column, I don't have kids. I work one job. I work one job and then I make YouTube videos for my other channel and now this one. And, you know, I have a couple of other responsibilities like everybody does, but I don't have kids that have to get to soccer practice or home from school or do homework or any of that kind of stuff. So I have a lot of free time to do this, thankfully. I'm sure there are people who are going to beat me in this run who are older and have kids and have to work 2 jobs. I recognize the fortunate position I'm in to do something like this. In later videos, I'll get into the training plan that I'm going to be following. I actually started kind of pre-training a few weeks ago, or a couple weeks ago, and I just basically did the first week of training 3 times, you know, and just kept repeating that first week of training over and over again until I got to the other cat is knocking stuff over, until I got to the day that I needed to start training so that the training program would conclude at race day. But anyway, we'll talk about that more in later videos. So the plan for this is to share everything that I can about the experience. If you have questions, if you're thinking about doing something like this, feel free to ask again. I am not an expert and I will probably just tell you, you know, a place to find the information you're looking for. But if you're looking for, you know, support or an opinion or, you know, whatever, feel free to post questions or comments in the comments section below. And if this at all interests you, then please subscribe. If you hit the little bell, it will notify you when I put a new video up. The plan is to try to post a new video every week. I guarantee you I won't make it. There will probably be some weeks that I just don't get to. But that's the plan, at least. If you aren't a subscriber to my other channel and you are interested in sewing, you should go check that out. If you're not a subscriber to my other channel and you're not interested in sewing, you should definitely go check it out because sewing is way cooler than a lot of people know. So anyway, thanks for watching. See you soon.